Good morning. You guys there?
Yes, I am. First of all, I thought that was player talking. I that was not.
No, that was Tramp.
Oh, I was like, man, I'm like, I don't see them being like, fuck this guy. I'm not gonna let this fucking guy up, right? And then when I heard him say, the story, was it Tramp talking about how that when he thinks of like how bad, like how pot when he was that Tramp talking about that?
Yes.
Oh no, that was
Okay.
that was me.
Tramp or Brandon. It was a combination of both of them talking the
Y-
last 5 minutes.
Yeah, yeah. So, the irony is I have some fucking pretty bad news.
No.
Oh,
Yeah, and it is that I'm up way too late. So that's some pretty good news, I guess. Anyways, so when I was listening to that, when they were like, like this guy, like with the hand he was dealt, you guys were saying the hand that he was dealt, like, oh my God, what an inspiration! Every time I think my life sucks, like, look at that. I just think about Cody, man. How fucking miserable his mind life. God, thank God I'm not that fucking guy.
I didn't mean to make it
Oh,
sound like that. Like,
No,
yeah,
I
I don't
no
think
no
anybody makes it sound like that.
no. I do. I'm a fucking jokester. Like I
All
just
right.
I couldn't wait to make the joke.
All right.
That's kind of like a motivational thing I kind of came up with over and it happens to me all the time. And you've probably heard this before. I've said it in spaces where even really close friends of mine that I've had the discussion with before and the talk with will at times say the same thing like a year later, 2 years later, anyways, so essentially they're like, look, man, like I'm going through a rough time, man. My mom's this, dude. Money's tight, whatever it may be. Like I gotta fucking find a new place to live, whatever it is. And then they'll be like, well, I'm sorry. Like what you're probably sitting here listening those are like fucking tiny problems in your life, and I always stop them and I always tell them, I'm like, dude, yes, on paper, even I would consider your lease ending and having to find a new place to live and having to work overtime to make rent to be less of a world issue than what I'm going through on paper. But I always tell them, I'm like, dude, whatever it is that you or anyone that's going through is incredibly real and probably just as jarring and stressful to you that my issues are to me. You know what I mean? And
Right. It's all relative, right? It's all relative. And, whatever people have going on in their life is what's important to them and how it's affecting them, right?
yeah, and it's I think back to like, holy shit, seventh grade. Like, I'm sorry, I'm a potty mouth. Seventh grade, oh my God, I have this freaking exam tomorrow. Oh my God. And
Right.
I'd go in there stressed as hell. It's like Kamala trying to answer a question that she doesn't it's like an eighth grader who didn't read the book that's
Yeah,
getting
we get it.
quizzed on the book. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm going in there just as stressed. I had more stress as that eighth grade Cody sometimes than getting like life altering as bad news can, you know what I mean? So it's all
So
relative.
it is all relative. So tell us what's going on with Cody. What have you been doing? Are you at a plateau with your health issues? What's going on, buddy?
Yeah, so things have never been worse. Um yeah, so since so obviously my, it's, you're well aware, my 31-year-old brother
Yes.
dying in May. And then we had this family like cruise that was supposed to be kind of like a last like family trip together that was planned for like almost 2 years, and it was like a week and a half, 2 weeks after um my brother passed away. And like even the day he passed away, they're like, my everyone's like, well, we're fucking going on this cruise, bro. He would have wanted us to go, which uh it's true, he would have, but like it's like everyone's like, we ain't missing this fucking cruise for nothing. But yeah, he would have wanted us to go anyways. So that happened, and then all the family comes into town. We do his funeral. We get right, fly across country for 2 weeks, and then come right back, do the World Series, do the main event, do all that, and then I get home and I get COVID. Ever since then, that literally the day I got home, I got COVID. So since mid July, I have been nonstop in bed. Now, I spend 23 hours a day in bed since I was 14. So when I say I've been nonstop in bed,
Yeah.
like, that should put it into perspective that my feet have like barely touched the ground. And I just wasn't able to recover. And then I had those 3, 4, I don't know, maybe it was 5. I don't fuck it, I lose count. ICU stays
Right.
that I just couldn't like, and that's how it's been since I got sick when I was 14. It's like right when I'm like sometimes I'd be like, why am I even doing physical therapy? Like, like I know like I'm gonna get right back in there and get cut back down to where I was, like it's just like a revolving cycle. And so I just got worse and worse and worse and worse. And then the formula that I get fed through my feeding tube is not just agreeing with me, but it's like going, there's I shortcut syndrome, pretty self-explanatory what
Yep.
that
Yep.
is.
Yep. So
And
tell me, are you at home now, Cody?
yes, and
You're at home. Okay.
I'm an in-house caretaker.
Right. Right.
But since then, I have lost. I mean, if you saw me now, I'm almost 6'3". I'm 150, like at my best. I've lost 32 pounds since then.
That's a lot, Cody. I'm sorry.
I
Yeah,
found him.
yeah, yeah. Everyone, trust me. The amount of times I hear you get out of my way, I'm like, dude, please give it to me. Um, because literally every pound I gain, and it's probably someone that's like morbidly obese that loses a pound, I could feel it making me feel better. Like I could feel the energy.
Well, I'm sorry. It's been a rough road, my friend. Sorry to
Well,
hear that.
well, things things families actually, the family's holding up really good, which is really terrifying. It's bizarre. Like it gives me solace knowing that like I hope they'll react that way. um like I've had an example of how it would look like when, but like at the same time it's like it's people are like too good. And me, I it's gonna sound weird, but like for the first like even like now kinda I like I miss him, but I barely miss him. It's bizarre. And I think early on I said it's gonna hit me later and it did. And now it's really kind of like we got out of the fast lane after that summer, and then things just started going downhill, and then like we all you have is time to think about it. But in the last 2 weeks, this sounds crazy to most people, but like my family's like cheering that I got on the computer to play video games. Like they're like, this is a miracle. Like that is like climbing Everest for me. That I got in a chair, I sat up, and I played 40 minutes of video games.
Awesome.
And like that's like
Awesome.
a step in the right direction. And then I had poker. I'd play my home game 2 times, 3 times a week religiously. And for the first time since I'm 21, really, when I'm not in the hospital, I've played 5 times since. And it was just I just didn't have it. Like even a 3 hour tournament, I was like, I just don't have it.
Right.
Um,
Understandable. But
I
I'm glad
miss
you
it.
get at least got some joystick time in, here recently. That's good.
Yeah, I mean it was it's just it's just I mean it's not obviously good to be inside all the time.
Right.
Um
Right.
and my bed is killing me, but like being in bed is killing me, but being in bed is where I feel the most comfortable. Like, and so it's weird. But other than that, I am still breathing, and I mean, hey.
So what are we watching on TV these days? You got to be doing something to occupy your brain. So what are we watching on? What are we streaming these days?
So YouTube is pretty much my thing. I've always been obsessed with politics when I was very young, so I've been watching a lot of podcasts. I've been watching the PBD podcast with Patrick Bet David. I've been watching you probably have heard of it, maybe not. Kill Tony.
No, don't
You
know
know
it.
He's
you never
hilarious.
oh, you never heard of Kill Tony?
No.
Sherry, at some point I'm gonna make sure you freaking watch this. So essentially what it is Joe Rogan opened this comedy club in Austin,
Okay.
and every Monday there's it's technically a podcast,
Okay.
and what they do is it's a comedy club, so there's a bunch of people in there just to laugh, and
Right.
but on stage is Tony Hinchcliffe. Now I don't know if you remember, about a week before the election, this comedian went on stage at Madison Square Garden at the Trump rally and made a Puerto Rican, the island floating a garbage. It's called Puerto Rico. Does that ring a bell?
No, I didn't see that. No.
Oh well, it was backlash. Like, oh my God, Trump's like, I didn't even know the comedian. Ball. That's the guy. Kill
Okay.
Tony, right?
Okay.
Well, Tony Hinchcliffe sits on the stage, and they got a band behind them that kind of plays. But what they do is they have about 250 to 300 comics names in a bucket, and they pull out a name, and they come up these comics. Maybe they're just doing it the first time, whatever, and they get 60 seconds.
Oh, okay.
and they're most of them are as horrible as you can get. And then it's, I mean, it is like uncensored. I mean, the racism, the fucking the like, but in such a, like, the comedians are making fun of their own race, like it, and then after, um they do the interview, and
Okay.
the interview of, like, how long you been doing stand up, and then they just roast them, but with the panel is usually a bunch of famous actors or famous comedians, and it is literally as funny as can be, like
Co-
I'll
if
have to look it up.
Cody, what's the guy's name that dresses up as Dr. Phil?
I K, or hold on. I
Because Shane Gillis dresses up as Donald Trump.
Yes, and the same guy, I believe Biden is the same guy as
Oh, the same guy that does Dr. Phil.
yeah, I love the "We'll be right back," and then they play the they play the song, uh let me see, what's his name? Okay, Dr. Phil actor is Adam Ray. Adam Ray.
Adam Ray. Okay, yeah. So there's one guy on stage that dresses up as Dr. Phil, and then Shane Gillis. I don't know if you know who that is, Sherry,
No,
but he dresses up like he's a comedian, a new like up and coming comedian. He dresses up as Donald Trump, and it's hilarious. The whole thing is just
I'm gonna have to
very
look
funny.
this up.
So I'm telling you, Sherry, Shane Gillis is in terms of our era right now,
Right.
he's at the top, and
Oh,
he has by far, and I just introduced my dad to the thing the other day, and my dad's like doesn't ever want to watch anything else, and he's like, dude, that was fucking hilarious.
I might
And
know him if I saw him. You know what I mean? I might be like, oh, okay, I know who it is, but the name definitely doesn't ring a bell.
well, he does the best Trump impression
I love it.
you can,
Look,
like.
there's nothing better than a good Trump impression.
And he does Bud
Love
Light
it.
commercials too.
Yeah, yeah, and he also does well, he got canceled. He was on SNL, um and they canceled his ass, but he's a stadium act. He's
Good for
travel
him.
travels around doing stadiums, and so is Kill Tony. They travel around doing stadiums, but then they'll find comics that, I mean, stand up is hard, but like in 60 seconds, but sometimes they'll find comics that they're that are actually really good. And
That
then,
guy Cam Patterson is pretty funny.
dude, Cam is hilarious, bro. Once again, like, uses his race. I mean, like, you like when you can make fun of your own race, like, as well as others, like, and then, like, a lot of, like, like, gay and lesbians will go up there and they'll make jokes about themselves being lesbian, and, like, it makes it fucking hilarious. Like, some of these comics, even these amateurs, are just like, yeah, but the really good ones have now become regulars. They have their regulars that'll come up, and
Well, I can't wait to listen to this stuff now.
That one girl that made the joke, this is gonna just be a little racist, but it just is what it is. She's like, I was walking down the street and I saw a black guy and I went to grab my purse, but then I realized we can't buy them anymore, or something like that. Like it's off color
yeah,
shit like that. Like it's it's the whole show is just funny as hell.
it is. And then, like, they'll be like, all right as the guy's like finished his set, right, and he'll put his mic, he'll be like, all right, Cody Daniels, that was probably the fucking most atrocious thing I've ever heard. And like there's like a few questions. First of all, how long you been doing stand up? What's your love life do? What's something interesting about? And then they're just roasting them, and then the comics will, if they roast back, it's like, I'm telling you, it's they were like, you would never think something like this would be on network TV or Netflix, and because it would get canceled in a fucking heartbeat, right? Well, Netflix gave him a deal, and Netflix knew how big it was, and yeah. But the one you gotta watch, I'll send you the link. That the one I sent my dad is you got what's his Adam Ray is Biden, and then you got Shane Gillis is Trump. And one of the jokes, like, they're asking the comic, so when did you sell your business, or who was in office when you sold your business? He's like, Trump was. Shane Gillis, of course it was. Like, yeah, I mean, it is the look, the everything, and he's like, I'm telling you, the hand gestures where you got to hold up the three fingers, you got to just move your hands like 3 seconds later than they should be moving by the words he's saying, and just mix up the cadence, and you got it.
And he wears
And
a wig that looks exactly like Trump. Like it's spot on. It's really good.
I love it. I
it's
love
Trump. It's Trump.
I
Cody, did
love
you
it.
see the one where
Oh.
Adam Ray was dressed up as Dr. Phil and then Dr. Phil came on stage?
I did
Like
not
the actual
know.
Dr. Phil came up and said, wait, "Are you impersonating me, motherfucker?" or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, dude. His impression. One, he doesn't look as accurate as the other. Like, Gillis looks like Trump. You know what I mean? But
Dude, Shane Gillis looks
um,
exactly like Trump when he dresses up. Like it, spot on.
That's awesome.
but you would honestly think, I'd say yeah. When David Ray plays the Dr. Phil, I mean, it's not as good of a impression, looks wise and everything, but it's still, I mean, he'll make a joke, he'll be like, "We'll be right back," like, as Dr. Phil does, and then they'll play his music on of his show. It's
Oh
And then the
great.
shit.
one time he
I'm
used the
telling you.
"Cash Me Outside." How about that?
Yeah,
From that
yeah.
girl that was
Wait,
on his
if you
show. I forget her name.
Danielle Bergoli.
Yeah. Catch me
That was
outside. How
one of the
about that?
most iconic Dr. Phil guests ever, the Catch Me Outside girl.
Do you know what she did? She so the Hawk Tuah girl,
Yeah,
and the crypto deal she's in right
yeah,
now,
yeah.
and you know how, like, immediately after she became viral, I mean, that week, started a podcast, started, like,
Right,
all that, and took that 15 minutes of fame, and took it as far into all of it, and then just crushed it for probably like 150 grand, right? With Daniel Bergoli, very troubled, then started a rap career as Bad Barbie, or Baby, or Bad Barbie, and it's BHAD.
right.
um and it was horrible, but she's getting features on huge songs. You're sitting there like, man, this kid is like, this is horrible. But man, they got a marketing team around her and set her up with generational wealth,
Right, right.
and like, did it right. And I'm sure honestly, maybe it's possible, like in the beginning, like her, like, the cash me outside shit. Like, I'm sure in the beginning she was like a delinquent and maybe still is, and it's all accurate. But I think, like, I mean, her mom probably was just like, dude, just keep this going. And, like, you'll be considered a joke to the world, but, like, hey,
Hey, you'll be laughing all the way to the bank.
that's exactly what I was gonna say.
I
Uh,
mean, come on.
I mean, and she now, like, so Dr. Phil sends troubled youth to, I forget the name of the ranch, if any of you know. Um,
I don't know.
but yeah, they send them to a ranch, like, basically like military school, but basically it's a ranch
Right.
where they get you far away in the desert. There's nowhere to run,
Okay.
and it's like, if you looked at a pamphlet, you'd be like, this is amazing, where they ride horses, they work with the animals, they do therapy, there's psychiatrists and everything. Well, um, Daniel Bergoli, I think she filed a lawsuit against, Dr. Phil, and Dr. Phil goes, when she made an appearance early on, after, and maybe it was her second appearance, he's like, you wouldn't be here, you wouldn't have the career you'd have if it wasn't for me. And everyone's laughing, but to do it to a degree, man, like, n- television in general, like, people paying for, like, television service, is it like that business is crumbling nowadays with streaming, and
Right.
and so she was kind of right at the, but anyways, I think she sued him, or suing him, with a bunch of other uh troubled youths that were sent to that ranch, where they were abused, raped, sexually assaulted, and they'd
So, so let me ask you this: do you think they're, just I'm just thinking out loud, and I'm certainly not dismissing anybody's accusations, but do you think that that some of it could be people just trying to get rich off of Dr. Phil?
um in my so here's the thing. um there was her, it's like, you could see that, right? Like, one person, like, oh my god, you can claim things that can't really be proven. ABC ain't wanting that, or whatever network he's on. They're just like, whatever, we'll settle, right? But there was years of accusations before,
Got it.
uh,
Got it.
her, and they all had the same story. And uh yeah, it says right now, Dr. Phil, CBS seek attorney fees from 20-year-old who alleged assault at Utah ranch, and saying that the famous TV doctor was negligent in the alleged sexual abuse of a teenager. And it just it and so they'd run, a couple of them would try to run in different directions.
Right. Right. Try to escape the camp or whatever.
And it's like, the Colorado Supermax, where all the terrorists are. That you just don't get away, right? Like, there's nowhere to go, right? And they would run in separate, like, in the dark of night, and run as far as they can, try to get away. And they would round them up with, like, trophy trucks, bring them back to the ranch, and they'd get the shit beat out of them. And, so it's like the same with Diddy. It's like, one, two, coincidence, maybe 300. mm,
Totally agree.
you know,
Totally agree.
might not be false at that point.
Right. Right.
So I don't know. I don't know, but I'm gonna send you that episode, and it's gold.
I will I will wait with bated breath to enjoy that. Oh, I love good comedians that aren't afraid to do comedy.
And Shane
Y-
Gillis, like Down syndrome runs in his family, and he does a bit on his I think it's a Netflix special about like it may look like I have Down syndrome, but it missed me. I just barely got out of it or whatever. Like he does this bit about his cousin or nephew. Like he just makes grilled cheeses and brings them to restaurants in case they don't serve grilled cheese. Danny, where'd you get that cheese from? His Netflix special is hilarious. I mean, absolutely
Oh
hilarious.
yeah, and it's like I don't watch specials, but I watched his the other night, and I was like, man, like he said he went on. He goes, it was during the pandemic, and I showed up to uh Martha's Vineyard for a tour, right?
Oh
And
no, that was
height of the
Washington's house, Monticello.
yeah, yeah. And he's like, so I signed up, and I signed up to do this uh $36 tour, and I just have my mask on, and they all watched me pull up in the parking lot like, ooh, it's one of them special needs. He goes, all that, because he does look like he might have Down syndrome
Yeah,
a
like
little
if
bit.
he had a mask on, you just look at his eyes. He does have like that look. Yeah.
He does. That's what he said. They all looked, So he's talking about how like he has it's during COVID, so you're not allowed to talk inside. Well, the whole tour is inside, right? And so he goes, all the characters were dressed up, and they're all in full character the whole time. And she's like, I'm whatever Washington, his wife. And so he's like, so where's George, but he goes, I walked through this 2-hour tour inside where we couldn't talk, and it was just me, and she's still in full, I don't know, like she's doing a fan, like, like it's hot out, like 1700s, and he said she pointed for 2 hours, couldn't say a thing, pointed, the whole way through, and then at the end goes, so do you have any questions? And he goes, yeah, what the fuck was that? All of it. Can you go back? I mean, the guy is good, but he was on a podcast recently with Andrew Schultz, another comedian, and they were making fun of Down syndrome and stuff, and it struck a nerve, and they thought he was joking at first. He goes, "Dude, this is not cool. Like those guys are awesome. They're having fun. Like, they were laughing at a video, and he goes, that's not cool. And at the time I didn't know he had it in his family. But he's like that, like making fun of people for like just to laugh at them while they're having fun, like, and making fun of their disability. Like, that's not cool, but ironically, you see a lot of that in Kill Tony, though, and it's quite fucking funny. The comedians love it. They want to be treated such as, like they come out and they have like double amputee, born with no arms. They don't like want to be treated like, like they want it to be roasted for their, and like
Well, they
they
understand that it's comedy. It's not a personal attack.
Yeah, and those guys don't
Comedy.
pull any punches either. They go all in.
they
It's
do.
comedy. It's not a personal attack on a person or a group of people. It's comedy.
Yeah, and some of the, like he said, some of the jokes, or most of them, are zero filter. Like zero,
And that's
and
what it's supposed to be. That's comedy.
that's what it's supposed to be, and
That's
that's the
supposed to
thing.
be, that's comedy. And people that are trying to make it into something it isn't, that's their problem.
So have you heard of the? Have you heard, Sherry, of the hard R? Like he said it with the hard R.
Is that a comedy routine or something?
No, no.
Oh,
The N word, but
right.
with
Oh, what that? Yes, I know what that. Yes,
the
what you're
hard
referring to.
R,
Yes.
not with an A at
Yeah.
the end.
Right.
So Tony's like, yeah. So can you give me permission uh for for me to use the hard R? Which he's white, and he's like, will you give me permission, to use the hard R for the rest of the show? But he's not talking about the N word. He's talking to a guy, like a guy with cerebral palsy or that, like, mentally delayed. Like, he's talking about the retard. And he's like, 5 years ago, like, like, that shit'll get you canceled. Now that shit'll get you really canceled. And so this guy's been canceled. He was canceled after that Trump rally. And I found it funny because first of all, Joe Rogan says, look, um, and the joke he made was, yeah, there's a floating island of garbage floating through the ocean. Yeah, it's called Puerto Rico. Now, it was a dual meaning joke. So there is a giant floating fucking continent of garbage that's just, but also Puerto Rico's landfills are overrun. So that was the joke, right? In Madison Square Garden, right? Um, but Joe Rogan, best friends, Tony Hinchcliffe, goes, yeah, comedy is just not meant for that moment, like in politics, like at a political
Well,
rally.
the
Like,
problem is that a lot of people never paid attention to politics until like the last 10 years. So they don't know the history behind some of the jokes that are being said, right? And so that's
yeah,
part of the problem, that you just have people now tuning into politics the last 4, 2, 6, 10 years, where
very true.
some of the comedians, especially those that are a little bit older, are making jokes about shit that happened 20 years ago that these people can't relate to because they didn't pay attention to politics then, or they weren't even born then to know or be around when that was happening. And so for me, that's part of the problem, I think.
I mean, he and Trump, the funniest part about it is the next day, I'm not sure if you're familiar or remember when he got in the garbage truck.
Oh my God. I never laughed so hard in my life.
Yeah, so and then he gets
That
on.
was, and I'm going to tell you something. Nothing would have made me more happy than him to arrive at the and now on the day he was sworn in, arrive at the White House in a garbage truck. Nothing would have made me more happy, just because that shit is funny.
I'm telling you, I prayed he won because I literally, I mean, the guy is the motherfucking funniest guy on the
He's hilarious.
planet, dude.
He's hilarious.
And Joe Biden calls they're garbage, his supporters. So he shows up in a garbage truck, right? Well, he goes up on stage, right, later at the rally an hour later, and he's wearing the garbage truck vest.
Right.
And they're like, hey man, you should wear that on stage. He's like, no fucking way I'm wearing that on stage. And he's talking about it at the rally. Yeah, and it's a stadium of people, and he's like,
Right.
no way I'm doing that. He's like, no, give me my suit and tie.
Right.
Like, fuck no. Like, no. And they go, it makes you look thinner. And he goes, they got me. So here I am. But anyways, what
Oh
what
shit.
what I was getting to is the day he got in the garbage truck, and he had to explain it was 10 foot to get up. It was like fucking 8 feet, 10 foot up. I if their president can't, if your president can't get up in their garbage truck, that's gonna make me fall in the pole. Like just joking, right? But when
Right.
he got in the garbage truck, is the day after the Tony Hinchcliffe Puerto Rico joke. And they were saying, what about the bags? All the reporters yelling. He's like, I don't even know the guy. I don't know the comic. I don't know who he is. I don't know who schedules them. I don't know anything about it, but whatever, like, and he's the king of burying stuff. Well, guess who's at his inauguration?
I love
Tony
it.
Tony Hinchcliffe. You know what I mean?
I
Like
love it.
he
He
damn
knows
well.
them now.
Oh no, he knew him. Like he's just and they're like, oh, this is what's gonna
Oh
sway.
shit.
This is what's gonna sway the voter within this final week. I'm like, dude, like, and then you look at the Puerto Ricans coming in hot in the ballot at the ballot box for him, like it didn't seem to have an effect, but yeah, he is one of a kind troller, which by the way,
His
you know,
trolls are amazing. I just laugh, and what's so funny about it is those that try to make it like it's a worldwide issue because he was in a garbage truck. No, dude, he's just trolling your stupid fucking president for making a terrible comment.
same with Kamala working at McDonald's. He goes to work at McDonald's.
Exactly. And if they were smart, they would do the same thing to him when he says something stupid. Troll him like, duh, you
Yeah,
idiots.
they the left took literally the 2080 of every issue,
Right.
and the right took the 80/20, and it's like
100%.
okay, how many people do I really know that's trans? One, and it's Ellie. Like
Right.
that's like, you know what I mean? Like sex change for illegal immigrant prisoners. Like I don't know. But his God, man, I think one of the coolest presidents to ever meet, like on like a homey level, just like down to earth, was
Right.
Obama. But man, I would have loved if I got my make a wish and he was in office. Like it would have. Oh my god, I would have. I mean, he is literally um one of a kind, and he's so that's what I want to say. So not or I'm sure you may have heard that him, Kid Rock, Bill Maher had a dinner.
I really, nah, I really
Okay.
don't know.
So Bill Maher's heavily left, right?
Oh,
And
you mean President Trump and Bill Maher?
yes,
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago. Okay,
yes,
I did hear about it, but I really don't know anything like that happened. I do know that it occurred, but I can't give you like any details about it.
yeah. So there's a video that I saw, and everybody was sending it to me, of Kid Rock jamming out on that 1938 was when it was gifted, but it's
Oh,
like
the
a
piano. Now, I did see a clip of the piano playing.
yes.
Yeah,
So
I did see a clip of that.
well, CNN, Caitlin Collins, which is Donald Trump's enemy, mortal enemy reporter. She was walking through the East Wing and showing a video about the portraits that are missing in the Pentagon, former Mark Milley, like former people from his old administration that like backstab. Anyways, there, when I played the piano, where it was, behind me was a portrait of Bill Clinton. Well, when Kid Rock was playing that piano, and I mean Beyonce, everybody's touched that and played that piano. Um, it was in a different location.
Got it.
And I know they move it around a lot, but
Got
when
it.
Caitlin Collins was going through the White House, they were showing the fact that Trump or Obama's photo, not even portrait, was where Bill Clinton's was, and where that piano area I was in when I in my video when I played it, and they said it's still up, and so he left it up, which is somewhat mature. Who knows how long it's going to stay up? But the fact he put his mugshot, uh, it framed his mugshot and put it on the outside the door of the Oval Office. That shit was funny.
The best troll ever.
Yeah, they threw everything they had at that guy, including bullets.
Yep. Yepper. All
But
right. So tell me what you got planned for today.
me?
Yeah, you.
Okay,
We playing the
so
joysticks? Are we gonna watch YouTube? What are we doing today?
Um, so my mom, so I totaled my car in November, right?
Right.
I had some fucking idiot let me drive while concussed. Not a smart move. Ran over a rock, and that was enough to total my car.
Yeah, I remember the story you told us.
Yes.
Yeah.
So today I'm, at this point, I honestly, I'm going crazy without a car. But after many, many months,
Right.
and like, I might just not even buy one. It might not even be worth it. And just like
Dude,
save
that's why there's Uber.
and save the money for my kiddo. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
and guess what? You could take an Uber anywhere you want to go. I mean, just what you would pay in car insurance per month will cover a lot of Uber rides.
yeah, yeah. But anyways, to answer your question, so I have a appointment at that I'm going. My mom has some thing for her car that we have to drop it off. So I'm going with my dad and my mom
Good.
together, and then
Good.
I'm going to this doctor's appointment at 8:30, and then I'm gonna go to sleep for maybe like 48 hours. I don't know.
Okay. So
Uh,
10 minutes till 9 my time. So that means it's 10 minutes to what? 6 your time? Or are you?
Yep,
Yeah.
and I can see the light just now coming out.
Maybe you should try to take a nap before you leave with your parents.
Oh, no, that ain't happening. That's happening. But I want to be. I am gonna get going anyways here in a minute. But I do want to tell you, you'd be proud of me. My dad is literally if you saw him, you'd be like, dude, he looks like fucking. You'd be like, hey, it's Billy Gibbons. Like it's like he is redneck, but this guy, uh was in the military. He had a freaking like successful career working for fucking like Coast Guard. Like, the dude looks like and he was and is a biker through and through
Right.
since he was fucking 5. The guy looks like an absolute fucking ex-con prisoner. The guy is literally the most genius individual I've ever
Oh.
been blessed to know. He can fix anything. He lives on this ranch, uh uh on the this like very high kind of like valued like area of unincorporated outskirts of Havasu. Well, my mom wants to be packed in a neighborhood. He wants to be out there fucking with his horses and
Right.
donkeys. Well, he is literally a freaking genius. Right now, his kids, he's tattooed for 50 years. He has multiple world records with its tattoos. He owned a shop as a side business. Like, my mom was the one good with money and stay at home, and he was take care of his family, beat the shit out of us as a kid as punishment, as he should have. And so, anyways, the point is, his kids inherited pretty much zero to none of all of those skills that he did.
Right.
I can't change a fucking tire. Like, let's be real, right? Like, I'm a millennial. Like, that's come on, right? Well, he builds a car. He has never stopped. There's always been a motorcycle or a car being built at all times my whole entire life by him.
Right.
And he's got like this airplane hangar garage. Well, he has this like um and he doesn't pay for anything. He'll barter. He'll make the parts.
Right.
I mean, he's a genius. So I've never built anything in my life. Well, there's a retain. I live on what's called a wash, like a ravine,
Right.
and I have like a 12-foot high retaining wall that goes down horizontal, maybe all the way down the end of my lot, which probably 70 feet. So like, I was wanting to build my kid a rock wall, and I have fucking no idea where to start. And I was gonna do it out of like plywood in the backyard, little kids, maybe 6 feet tall,
Sure.
with some, you know. And then I go, oh my god, like the wall's already there. Like, we have this retain, and my dad's like, that's fucking genius. I'm like, that is the best compliment I've ever got.
Aw.
So I went out there. I'm like, what do I bought a bunch of like cheap kids hand and foot holds, like you're at like a fair climbing wall,
Right. Right.
that just screw in, bolt in, whatever. And he kind of like coached me a little bit. And this was in the cold, maybe last January during the cold, because I can't go out when it gets above 75.
Right.
And it took me a month. I would go out and drill a hole a day, and each hand and foot hold takes two holes. And I'm like, what the fuck is a hammer drill? Like, what the fuck is this? What is that? Like, and and the kids were stoked about it, right? And so he guided me on what to buy, but man, I built it, and then they're all color. All the hand and footholds are like colors. So like, the more I got in, the more I'd take a picture after every day, and then I'd put it into paint, and then I could continue as it was getting built, designing it color coded. So like, the red's the hard.
Right.
The You can only climb using the blue handles, and then I tried it once or twice, but I really wasn't in the business of kind of like getting more hurt and fucking paralyzed and fucking dead than I already am. So like, and I was not gonna let my kids and nephews and nieces get hurt, right? So what we did was I learned how to belay, rappel, whatever. But just like at the fair, when you make it to the top, you just kind of let go, and
Right.
it just slowly like repels you down. So I have that. They have the harnesses. they have like a soft giant pad that if they have this metal wire that can handle like 2 tons that's also hooked to their harness, so that if the first thing failed, the auto belay fails, that's like a seatbelt. It just locks.
Gotcha.
If and so if all of that failed, they'd fall freaking 6, 8 feet on like this giant like pad, like,
Right.
and I'm standing under them, and they went ape shit over it, and it was literally like
Oh,
the highlight of my life, that I was like, holy shit, I built something, like, and like it's not a fucking Lincoln log house.
that's so fun.
Yeah. But anyways, it was good talking to you guys, and I'll let you go.
You take care of yourself, Cody. Don't
Hey,
be a stranger.
Cody, real quick before you go, if you got time,
Yeah,
do you know Fats?
I do.
So the story I was telling earlier, I don't know if you heard the whole thing. Like he has cancer on his tongue, mouth cancer. And the story I was telling was what he said, that he's like, I want to be like Cody, like, even though that life has given me a rough hand, I just got to be positive and upbeat. It's like he said the first thing he thought about was like you and how positive you are in life, even though you got a shit hand. So I just wanted to go full circle on that and let you know that he was thinking about you, and he was kind of inspired by you.
Dude, that's and of course I had to make a joke out of it, but that's what I want to hear. Like that's kind of I didn't intend early on in my illness to do that, but then later on, and especially the last like 5, 7 years, like that's like my goal. And I want to I really wanted to start like a foundation in my name, and I wanted to target uh, a lot of things, um, a lot of healthcare reform. I mean, inside of hospitals, because I mean, when you're inside a hospital, a doctor says this is what we need to do. You say okay, you trust them, right? Well, had we like, I mean, I am a product of malpractice. So, and that happens, micro and macro malpractice happens to every hospital stay I'm in, every second, to every patient. I have the best insurance, the best mom advocate, the best everything, and best knowledge, everything. And I'm still like, they're making mistakes that will kill me regularly. Someone who's elderly and doesn't have family, or a kid, like I used to watch kids in the children's hospital, their parents drop them off and say, call me when he's ready. And 2 months later, oh, he's ready, and they wouldn't show up once. And it's just like, man, like, and the nurses are the advocates, right? They're supposed to be, but they're just not. It's rare you find a good nurse. It really is.
And I,
Uh,
I could not agree with you more. And my advice after going through what I did with my mom for 8 years that she lived with me is no patient should be at a doctor or hospital by themselves.
Never.
Never, ever. And if they're there overnight, you're there overnight with them. I don't care how old they are. I don't care what the illness is. No patient should be in a doctor's office, a testing office, or a hospital without another person with them.
And you gotta ask questions. The last thing I'll end with is, have you ever seen a movie Awake?
Uh,
Forget about it.
yeah.
It's with Christian Bale, Terrence Howard. It's have you ever heard of anesthesia awareness?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
Okay. So I've been put to sleep upwards of probably 350 times. That can't be good for your body, right? You know how many times I've had fucking problems with anesthesia? None, right? So COVID hits. And I was, COVID was crazy for the whole world.
Right.
Well, I had a very unique experience because I was in from October to uh like June, mid June 2020. So like I was in, like I'd look out right when like the toilet paper, like okay, now we're declaring it a global pandemic. Like I was in there, right? And then within a week they said, okay, we're going to limit the visitors to this time and only two at a time. And I was like, damn, that's nutty, right? But I get it, whatever. And then a couple days later they're like, all right, we're limiting the hours to this and now one. And I'm like, damn, that's crazy. I'm like, but nah, yeah, they'll never and then the next day they're like, all visitors are banned. And as you know, people were dying over FaceTime that whole summer, right?
So horrible.
Well, my mom and I giggled and we're like, there's no fucking way. They're gonna have to fucking drag you out of here. You ain't getting out of here because my mom will never leave my side. And clearly, nobody, we all underestimated this shit because she goes, look, he's this, like, and that's my mom's fucking worst nightmare, right? So they said, sorry, we talked to our house soup, you gotta go. She's like, I'm not leaving. They're like, security, and she had to leave,
I'm going
right?
to tell you something. When I took not my husband, my son to the emergency room after trying for 10 days to get him tested for coronavirus, and they were telling me I couldn't go into the building with him, I looked right at him and I said, we've been going around and around about this with the health department, the state department, the CDC for 10 days. I go where he goes. So get the hospital administrator down here and we'll have a conversation about where I'm going. And guess what? I got to go everywhere with my son.
Because you know why? Because you gotta be a fucking bitch. You
Absolutely.
you gotta, and so I'm sorry I'm long winded, but I there's so she gets kicked out, and I live 3 hours away from a major city,
Right.
so she for the next 2 months slept, bathed, like never freaking left the parking lot,
Right. Right.
right?
I
And
remember.
so
I remember
there's
the
a
story.
there's a video of me, a very famous video, where they said, after a while, it's gonna sound bitchy, but or like kind of like prima donna. After a while, decades, like I'm just tired of getting fucked with, right? So
Of
like
course.
an MRI put me to sleep. Like I'd be like, put me to sleep, and they'd be like, why? I'm claustrophobic, which I am mildly, but I can handle it. But I also can't sit still. That is actually legit, but I'd probably be able to tough it out, right? But why not when I could take a fucking nice little uh forced nap. So, anyways, I'm gonna get an MRI, and it's during COVID. It's May 1st, 2020, and I'm in the ICU, and they said, "All right, we're gonna move you upstairs," and they were gonna change out my feeding tube. Or no, it was an MRI, and they were gonna shoot contrast dye into my
Right.
feeding tube,
Right.
and then watch it go down. But I found it weird that they usually have you in the MRI radiology area downstairs, and then like anesthesiologist comes in, and then they do it all there, and then you're right by the OR in case any. But no, they moved me upstairs to another ICU room. And I was like, okay. And they bring, and I have a video that haunts me to this day where I'm videoing and I'm like, all right, they're rolling in the anesthesia machine. And I'm like, all right, here it is, about to get put to sleep. And I obviously don't like it, but man, I kind of vibe with getting put to sleep because it's like a field trip. Every day is fucking so boring in the hospital that at least I'm gonna get fucking just a good fucking night's sleep for once.
I
Like
hear you.
so uh so I get put to sleep, and this procedure should take 2.5, 3 hours. And I get put to sleep, and anesthesiologist, whatever. So and I call my mom. I was like, hey mom, all right, she's in the parking lot. And this is why I'm telling you, if she was there, shit would have been different. But they put me to sleep, and I know because I know how it works, within 15 to 20 minutes, I became conscious and I hear them talking, and I am frozen. When I say I'm frozen,
Right.
my my nut they give you a neuromuscular paralytic, so you're shut off, you're frozen. That's what the movie Awake is. They Hollywooded up by saying
Right.
like let's kill him on the table, and he hears them, to get his inheritance. And I was frozen. I couldn't even open my eyelids. My head was cocked on a pillow or a towel to the right, and I'm on the ventilator, so it's breathing for me.
Right.
And by their conversations, I knew it was 10 to 20 minutes because they were talking about getting ready to inject the dye. So I go, holy fuck. And I knew instantly why I was frozen. It was the neuromuscular paralytic. I knew exactly what was going on.
That's
And
so crazy.
I knew exactly that I was in fucking that movie. And I go, oh my God. Now, keep in mind, most people that deal with this, thank the Lord I wasn't one of them, are undergoing major surgeries
Right.
where
Right.
they have to sit there and just scream when nobody can hear them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's such a high number of suicides within days after this shit happens. It's unreal. So I'm sitting there, and immediately I have two things. I'm like, okay, either I sit here and I just fucking go to my happy place and just fucking try to calm down. It won't last forever. That's what I always tell myself when life gets hard. This isn't going to last forever. Or I fucking freak out, which wouldn't be hard, and get them to see my vitals, to be like, whoa, like, why is his blood pressure, like,
Right. Right. Right.
and that ain't gonna do shit, right? And clearly, what went wrong is they didn't have an anesthesiologist. They had an ICU doctor who's just walking in the halls, not with you, at like in an OR, sitting next to you. And he just fucking popped me with a propofol one syringe and probably took a stroll, right? And so for 2 hours, I go into my happy place, and I'm literally, there was the only thing that I could control, or I couldn't control it, but there's tears coming down the side of my eye. Like I was like screaming inside, but I
What
was,
a horrible experience.
oh, I'm
What
telling
did
you,
you tell them when you were finally out of the anesthetic? Did you
I'll,
what
I'll tell you,
conversation
I'll
did
tell
that
you.
conversation look like?
Yeah, so I'll tell you. So that I mean, I've been through so many heinous things I can't describe. There was no pain involved in this.
Right.
I can burn to death and it would not come close to what this experience was. I would rather, if I had a gun, I would have instantly called it quits right then and
Mm,
there if I had the option. But yeah, so I get there, and credit to this male nurse. After about 2 hours, I start to I start to realize shit's coming back. And what I mean by that is I was
right.
able to open my eyelid by maybe like 1/10 of a millimeter,
Right.
like with it, like literally barely. And I was able, and then over the course of 10 minutes, I was able to move my head back and forth. If you weren't up in my face, you wouldn't really know or notice it. But this nurse got up in my face and goes, "Cody, are you awake?" And he goes, "I think he's awake." And they come in, and this chick, CNA, not even a nurse,
Oh God.
walks in, gets in my face, and goes, "He ain't fucking awake." And they walked out. I was like, dude, is this a fucking joke? And finally, he walked back in, and he just had the sixth sense, and he goes, "Guys, I think he's awake." And when I woke up and finally awake, I have the ventilator. Keep in mind,
Right.
you have to hold your breath. And I've been awake on the ventilator before, but never on a paralytic. You have to hold your breath, uh, because if you're trying to breathe on it while it's trying to breathe for you, you're suffocating. It's horrendous. So I finally wake up, and oh my God, I'm hearing sirens over the fucking intercom. My room's being flooded, and they still got the shit down my throat. And I'm like, oh my God, there's going to be hell to pay. And I said, "Give me my phone." And my hands weren't completely back yet. So I had a bunch of typos, but I wrote, "You fucking cocksuckers," was the first thing I wrote.
Good for
I go,
you.
I've been awake the whole time. I wrote propofol, propofol over and over and over and over. And they said, "Well, do you want to abort the procedure?" And I said, "Abso-fucking-lutely." But they're like, "But then you'll have to do it again." I'm like, and then I was like, they're right, right? I said, "Only if you can guarantee me I'm going to be completely out." And um, all of it was done over me just kind of texting. Well, eventually the famous video of me taking a video of me on the ventilator, you can hear the nurse in the background going, "Okay, and that drip will set in any second, and then you'll be out." And I'm like, dude, if you don't fucking, if like, but what was good is they don't need the neuromuscular paralytic anymore. Um, that's for the, to stop your gag reflex to get the ventilator in. And so people don't pull out the ventilator. Well, I ain't gonna pull out the ventilator. So, you ain't gotta worry about that. So finally, I woke up at midnight, like 5 hours later, and and I'm laying there, and there's been only a few times I can count in my life where I literally sobbed all night and rocked in bed all night, like suicidal. Like, never been suicidal. That was the one time. Like, it was so traumatic. And finally, um, the the nurse came in and like gave me, I couldn't even talk, and all of a sudden I go, whoa, I'm loopy, and they're like, yeah, they're giving you around the clock Valium and stuff. I'm like, do you understand how hard it is to get them to get you Valium in a hospital? So they knew they clearly fucked up that
Right.
I didn't even have to ask for it. And so the next morning I get moved down to my old room, and who walks in? The goddamn nurse, the male nurse. And he sat down next to me and he started crying. And he goes, buddy, please don't tell anyone I'm here. It could get me fired. Here's a list of everything you were given med wise. Here's what went wrong. Here's who's responsible.
Wow, good for him.
Yeah, and I said, I'm telling you, buddy, I, I it's a miracle that he discovered what was going on as quick as he did. Like
Wow.
it, absolute miracle. And he goes, I'm telling you, I'll never forget this. This is gonna fuck me up for life, is what he told
Because
me.
he knew something was wrong and nobody was believing him.
Yeah, and my mom, what's
Oh,
crazy is my mom always said I would have noticed. And my mom would have noticed instantly.
right,
She never takes her eyes off of my vitals.
right,
Like it's yeah, so that would have never happened if it wasn't for COVID and just fucking pure
right. Stupidity.
malpractice.
The stupidity.
But yeah, anyways, I'll let you guys go. It's pretty horrifying experience that I ever since, because I had my last major surgery where they opened my whole stomach up again about a week later. And ever since then, when I get put to sleep, I demand and researched what's called a BIS monitor. Now it's in every OR, but it's almost never used unless it's for brain surgeries. Now what it is all those electrodes on your head that basically measure brain
Right,
activity. So that's when they're like, yeah, there's nothing going on. He's brain dead. Let's pull the plug. Oh, he's supposed to be asleep for surgery and he's having fucking like orgasm fucking brain waves, like what the fuck. And so that way that's how they can prevent it, but you have to ask for it, and the only people that ask for it are the people that have gone fucking
right.
through it
Tell us
and know
again what
about
the name of that piece of equipment is for people to know.
it. A BIS monitor,
This
BIS.
monitor, people. It'll monitor your brain waves when they put you down and to make sure
I
you're
mean, for
truly just not paralyzed, but you're really out and not, consciously hearing and knowing of what's going on, but can't speak up because you are paralyzed from the medicine they have you on.
I mean, it even if it's not for any crazy surgery, like my like always recommend or always ask for it, and always literally like the that that monitor like could save so many people. It could have saved so many people's lives, but and now I'm like terrified to get put to sleep. Like terrified. Like I don't want to do it. Like
Well,
it's
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 understandable, Cody. I mean, cut yourself some breaks. It's understandable why
yeah.
you would feel that way.
Yeah, yeah. And that's the thing. Like people are like, you should sue him. The amount of times I could have sued, like last year in one lawsuits, I mean, you could fill a dictionary with. It just ain't worth it, because you know why? Like something like that, all they would say is, okay, the only thing that it cost him is emotional damage. And so you're going to get peanuts if you win, right?
Right.
And so I just want to be able to bitch out who the fuck made that mistake. And so when I had talked to the guy the next morning, the anesthesiologist, that I go, so who is, he goes, yeah, the guy, because I wanted answers. And the guy was like, yeah, oh, that guy, Dr. So and so, yeah, he's a tool head, he's an idiot. And I'm like, what did you just say about your fucking colleague?
Yeah, and why haven't you spoken up to the powers that be so he's no longer on staff would be the next thing I would say.
Because it's fucking, you
Disgusting.
know. Oh, yeah, it is. But, anyways, all right, you guys, have a great day.
Thanks, Cody, for stopping by and
Sorry,
giving us the
I
update.
sorry I talked your ear off,
Honey,
but
if you didn't, I would wonder what's wrong.
yeah, it's been a long time since I've been in the space.
Well, and sometimes it's just good to be heard, isn't it?
Uh, very much so.
So don't be a stranger. Come in anytime you want, not only in my space, but any space.
All right. Well, ASG, John, Karen, and Sherry, and James, thank you guys. And I will see you when I see you.
Hopefully soon, my friend, and you take care, Cody.
All right. You guys too. Have a good one.
You there, Karen? Karen, are you there? Okay. I'm going to shut it down unless anybody wants to come up and chat. I'm going to shut it down. Um, we were in player space and player had fallen asleep, so Cody couldn't get up on the panel. So that's why we started another space so that he could have a chance to talk with us. So, hey,
Can you hear
yep,
me?
hey,
I had to leave and come back.
no worries. How are you this morning?
Good. I listening to Cody talking. I took my son to school and I'm back already and about to do some work.
Yeah, me too. About to dig in the heels. I got something to catch up on. John Robertson, I see you down there. I hope you have a good day. Give me a call when you're free, John. I got an idea. Oh, God. Anyway, here we are. Here we are. James, I hope you had a good time on the Felt ASG. Hope you had a good weekend. Unless you got something to chat about, Karen, I'm going to shut it down so we can both get.
Yeah, we can
Yeah.
shut it down. I'm boring, I'm just gonna do work.
Well, it's not that you're boring. It's just we don't have anything to talk about right now, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
okay.
Well, and I talk to you pretty frequently. I just talked to you yesterday, so yeah. But give me a time for something to happen in my life. But hey, mate, let's talk. Definitely, I'm sure we'll talk this week. But let's talk as the weekend gets closer about the poker.
Absolutely. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. I'm gonna go tomorrow night.
I love it.
But yeah, I'm up for
Okay.
Saturday.
I'll definitely let you
Cool.
know as the week unfolds.
Yeah, yeah, that's
All
fine.
right. Have a good day. See you,
You
ASG.
too. See you guys. Bye, SG.
Bye.
See you guys.